Okay, 5-3, point slope form. We've been using slope-intercept form a lot, y equals mx plus b. This is a new form. It's called point slope form. It's called that because when you look at it, it has the slope, which is m, and it has an ordered pair, which is this x sub 1 and y sub 1. And then this x and this y are just the normal x and y that are in equations. So here is an equation written in point slope form. Well, you can easily find the slope. That's the 2/3, because that's in the m spot. So the slope is 2/3, and you can find the ordered pair, 3, 5, because that is in the x1, y1 spot. Now, some of you are going, why isn't it -3 and -5? Well, because if you notice, the minus sign is part of the formula. So we're just leaving that there because it goes with the formula. We're just looking at this. Okay? So, if you are given a point and you're given the slope, could you put this into point slope form? Well, of course, that would be pretty easy. You got y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now you just have to put things in the right place. So for y1, we're going to put -3 in. So y minus -3. For m, we're going to put 2. And for x sub 1, we're going to put 4. Now, this is almost finished. There's one problem. Does anyone see it? It's really not a good idea to leave things minus and negative. So go ahead and change that to plus. So that is y plus 3 equals 2 times x minus 4. And that's the answer. If they give you a point and the slope, and they want you to write an equation in point slope form, that's how you do it. Okay, how would you write this in point slope form? Well, point slope form says y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So now you put the parts in. y1 is going to be 4, so y minus 4. M, or slope, is 5. And then x1 is -3. So x minus -3. Then you go back and change this part to plus. So your final answer is y minus 4 equals 5 times x plus 3. And that's the answer. Hey, here's part 1 of video homework. Take your point and your slope and write an equation in point slope form. Okay, now, here is how you graph an equation that's in point slope form. First of all, you decide what is the ordered pair in this equation. Well, the ordered pair in this equation is 3, -2. Some of you are saying, how in the world did you get -2? Well, remember how there's a minus sign in this formula? So before I pull that ordered pair out, I have to, either on paper or in my head, change that y plus 2 to y minus -2, because I need a minus sign because of the formula. So therefore I have 3, -2. That's my ordered pair. And what's my slope? My slope is 2/3. Okay, so this is a lot like graphing with slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, only we're going to have a different starting point because there's no b. So our starting point is going to actually be the point. This is our starting point. So the first thing you do is graph 3, -2. So you go to your graph and you go over 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 2. Okay, so 3, -2. That's my starting point. Then I'm going to take my slope and I'm going to use it to find another point. So I'm going to start at my starting point and go up 2 over 3. Then those are my 2 points that I'm going to use to draw my line. So it's almost exactly the same, except you have a different starting point. The point is the starting point. You do the same thing with the slope. That's how you graph with point-slope form. Okay, let's graph this one. Y minus 4 equals 2 times x plus 1. First we need a point, and remember, because that says x plus 1, we want to think of it as x minus negative 1 so we can get our point. So that's negative 1, 4. That's our point, our xy. Then we have a slope of 2. So remember, our point is our starting point. So we're going to go negative 1, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and graph that. Negative 1, 4 is right there. Okay? And then we're going to take our slope and do our slope starting at our point. Make your slope a fraction. So up 2 over 1. There's your other point. And that's where your line is. That's not hard. Now, suppose they give you the graph of the line and ask you to write the equation in point-slope form. Could you do that? Yes. So, when they give you the graph, the first thing you need to know is what's the slope. So, to find the slope, start down here at this dot, and we're going to count up and over to this dot to find the slope. Or if you don't want to do that, you can take this point and do the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, if that makes you happier, but this way is easier. So I'm going to go 1, count up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 3, 1, 2, 3. So that slope is 5 over 3. So my slope is 5/3. Whoops, 5/3. Then I have 2 points. It doesn't matter which one I use. I could use this point or I could use this point. Makes no difference. So let's do both just so you can see. I'll start with the negative 2, and we'll go y minus negative 2 equals, put your slope in, 5/3 times x minus negative 2. Now in the final product, that's going to become y plus 2 equals 5/3 x plus 2. That's a perfectly good answer right there. Okay, if you use the other point, your answer is going to look like this. It's going to be y minus 3 equals, same slope, 5/3 times x minus 1. Either one of those answers is correct. That's how you write an equation in point-slope form when you're looking at a graph. You find the slope, and then you use one of the points, and you just write the equation in that form. Pretty simple. Okay, here's another one where it's going to ask us to write the equation off of the graph. So, sometimes they don't tell you the points, so let's go ahead and figure out these points. This first point is negative 2, 0. And the other point is 1, negative 2. Okay, now let's find the slope. So start at the bottom point, count up, 1, 2. Then count over, 1, 2, 3, and over that direction is negative. So your slope is negative 2/3. Then use one of the points. We'll just pick the first one. We'll pick negative 2, 0. We won't do them both this time because you don't need to do them both. You just pick one. And we'll write it in point-slope form. So y minus 0 equals negative 2/3 times x minus negative 2. Okay, now here's something I haven't told you yet because I haven't thought about it. When it's y minus 0, that's really just y, isn't it? So it's not really wrong to put y minus 0, but it's simpler just to put y, because y minus 0 doesn't change anything. So either way, and then you put your slope, and then x minus negative 2 is x plus 2. So sometimes you might see something that's written this way, and it doesn't really look like point slope form because there's not the y minus 0, but your brain has to go, wait, that looks like point slope form, so y minus 0, that would be y minus 0. So you have to kind of figure it out, because they do write these like this in the book sometimes. Okay, here's your last part of video homework. Make sure you graph both of these lines. Have a lovely evening.